Our conversation with Governor Mike DeWine continues here first at 4. Mike, let's move on next to your request that the General Assembly pass a law that requires background checks for all firearm sales in Ohio with limited exceptions. And we heard the president on the White House lawn yesterday, at least initially, voicing that he might consider something like this.
We got to do a couple things in regard to background checks. One, we have to expand them. Most gun sales today involve a background check. We need to expand that. But the second thing I don't think the public really knows about, they don't hear about, and that is our criminal record system in Ohio still is not where it needs to be. So if you run a background check on a guy and he's been convicted of an offense that makes it so that he cannot buy that gun, it needs to be in the database. And so I'm asking our team to go back. Let's take a look at this again. Let's make sure all this information gets in the database.
Because those are those who are saying, you know, in the wake of what happened here in the Oregon district, that young man passed a background check.
Yeah, so he did. Well, of course, the other issue you have, and I don't know what his background was as a juvenile, but we've got to somehow figure out how, let's say a 17-year-old, still a juvenile, within a couple months of becoming an adult, they commit an offense, many times that is not going to go into that background check. That's not right. We need to know that about that person. That person should not be able to, they've demonstrated they do not have the responsibility to own a firearm, and they've committed a crime, so they shouldn't be able to do that.
Another very important aspect, of course, is the mental health aspect. Earlier today, and the reason really you're in town today was to announce the Youth Mental Health Summit that will be held, I think appropriately, here in Dayton in September. But of course, in the new budget, there's already money there, a lot of money, $675 million to address the social and emotional challenges our kids face. Let's talk about the mental health aspect.
Well, I talked today
next.
about we have a mental health crisis with our young people. The suicide rate is dramatically up. It's just shocking. Nothing more heartbreaking than to think about a child committing suicide. We've got to reach these kids, and we've got to reach them at an earlier age. And the good news is, if they have trauma, if we can reach them and don't ignore it, then we can help them from not having problems later on. So in the budget that I presented to the General Assembly, we asked for what we call wraparound service money to go to every school district in the state, and they can use that for mental health, they can use that for counseling, but reaching these kids with what teachers keep telling me is, it's not what goes on in the classroom. This kid comes in hungry. Mary comes in, she's got a father who's an alcoholic. Joe comes in, he's got a mom who's got this problem and that problem. So it's what goes on outside the classroom. We got to help the kids with those problems, and this gives the resources to the schools to do it.
All right, Governor Mike DeWine, our very special guest today here, first at 4. Governor, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your leadership at this crucial time in our state.
Good to be with you. Thank you very much.
Always good to see you, Mike.
Thanks.
All right, weather's next.